The President General of the Igbo Community Association in Abuja, Engineer Ikenna Ellis Ezenekwe, has revealed that Nnamdi Kanu is optimistic about securing his release from the custody of the DSS by April 2025. We are in 2025 and this month is April. Nnamdi Kanu is optimistic that he will be released from DSS custody this April. That is good news for majority of Igbos and Biafrans. Let's move on. In a statement issued following his visit, that means he visited Nnamdi Kanu at DSS headquarters in Abuja, Ezenekwe said Kanu expressed disappointment over the lack of strong Igbo leadership and called for renewed advocacy for the region's interest. Look at those two statements. Disappointment over lack of strong Igbo leadership and called for renewed advocacy for the region's interest. Now, my take is, are we looking at Igbo nation or Biafra? Igbo nation are supported by Nnamdi. He said a prosperous Igbo nation in Nigeria. That is what Nnamdi fought for. Are we looking at an Igbo nation or Biafra? Ojukwu told Nnamdi, no, we want a separate country from Nigeria. We want Biafra. So looking at these two statements, what is Nnamdi Kanu implying? Is it that he is going for an Igbo nation or is going for Biafra? I'll read it again. Kanu expressed disappointment over the lack of strong Igbo leadership and called for renewed advocacy for the region's interests. So what are the interests of Igbos in Nigeria? When you put Igbo leadership side by side with region's interests, we are talking about Igbo nation. I stand to be corrected if I'm not in line with this statement, because what is expected of Nnamdi Kanu is that he comes out and Biafra is achieved, because this system has to change. There's no two ways about it. Now, if what this man who went to visit Nnamdi Kanu in DSS custody, if what he said is true, that means Nnamdi Kanu must be looking forward to something else than a total liberation of Biafra. If I'm wrong, you can correct me. Or he's looking at a strong Igbo nation in Nigeria. Well, one thing I believe is that before a child starts walking, he must crawl. Before a child starts running, he must start to walk. You don't, from crawling, you start to running. No, you must walk. So is it that he is looking at an Igbo leadership that will enhance a Biafra, realization of Biafra? Is he dropping the agitation, or is taking another tactic, another system to achieving Biafra? Because the goal is Biafra. Our Igbo leaders, the interest of these Igbo leaders, if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected, is different from what the people are expecting. The Igbo leadership we have of today, they are not representative of the people. The mandate you see them holding is not the mandate of the people, as it were. If we are looking at Igbo leaders, let's put out Alex Oti. You know that the people really voted for Alex Oti. Every other person may have the mandate of the Fulani. So if you are looking at Igbo leadership, look at Ohaneze. Look at all the shenanigans they have been doing over the past years and months and weeks and days. Look at what happened in Enugu State. Ohaneze have not spoken since then. The governor have not spoken until the police came and said it is all fake news. So the interest of these Igbo leaders is different from the interest of the people. So we want to understand, who are the Igbo leadership you're talking about? Is it this current crop of governors and senators that have stood to the Fulani, or this southeast governors, House of Rep, that have been emasculated by the establishment? Would Tinubu really want to release Nnamdi Kanu? That is even another question. Would Tinubu want to release Nnamdi Kanu I said it a very long time that, however, Nnamdi Kanu is used as a chess, is used as a pawn in case the Fulani wants to go rogue. They want to run mad on Tinubu's government. Then Tinubu will unleash the instruments of division, which is in Nnamdi Kanu first, empower Tompulo and Co. and Asad Dokubo. You run your own Ijaw nation. Since the Fulani wants to go rogue on his government, I told you that the ultimate thing for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, is for him to complete his 8 years. And if you allow Tinubu enter second term, you now know whether he's going to restructure Nigeria or not. Mark this word. But would Tinubu release Nnamdi Kanu at this point in time? To what end? Because I'm rationally looking at it. To what end would Tinubu release Nnamdi Kanu? Nnamdi Kanu, before he got into DSS custody and his last outburst at the court, he's passing a message that I'm still holding this Biafra agitation tight. So would a Tinubu release Nnamdi Kanu to go and continue his agitation? Or is it that there is a compromise? From the lens of the government, no government will want somebody that will want to agitate and destabilize his own government. Because if he comes out and start pushing for a Biafra, does the leadership of Tinubu, are they ready for the agitation that Nnamdi Kanu is going to bring when he comes out of detention? Or because this word that this man is saying now, it looks like a compromise. Maybe Nnamdi Kanu wants to settle for an Igbo nation that will be powerful to push for his interests. He talks about strong Igbo leadership, then advocacy, renewed advocacy for the region's interest. According to this man I'm reporting, I did not meet Nnamdi Kanu. I've not spoken to him, so I'm quoting Vanguard newspaper, I'm quoting our report, and I'm quoting Mr. Ekene that visited Ikenna is in Ekwe. I'm quoting him. So when you put strong leadership, Igbo leadership, side by side with renewed advocacy for region's interest, it does not sound like Biafra to me. Is Nnamdi Kanu going to soft pedal, or he will match break for this Biafra agitation and pursue Igbo nation? Remember, two things: Biafra or Igbo nation. Okay, let's move on. Now, the leader stated that Kanu, despite being in detention, appeared healthy, had gained weight, and remained in high spirits. Kanu reportedly reaffirmed his confidence in his legal team and expressed hope that the courts would grant him freedom in the coming weeks. However, he lamented the deteriorating conditions of the Igbo people in Nigeria. See the words. See, you see, most times, you need to understand when people make statements. Igbo people in Nigeria. Let's move on. Stressing that no prominent voices were actively defending their cause. No prominent voice is actively defending the cause of the Igbo people, and that's true. Ezenekwe also conveyed Kanu's concerns about the historical neglect of Igbo freedom fighters. Historical neglect of Igbo freedom fighters, citing a case of Raf Wazurike, who, according to Kanu, had good intentions but suffered abandonment by his own people during his imprisonment. He warned that such neglect could weaken the struggle for self-determination. Now, in his statement on Thursday, Ezenekwe appealed directly to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, urging him to intervene in Kanu's case. He reminded the president of his past role in the pro-democracy movement and called on him to demonstrate the political will to secure Kanu's release. So Kanu is optimistic. IPOB leader and somebody I respect so much and I support is optimistic that he will be released this month, April. And I'm looking at the options because I don't believe that a Tinubu, our Tinubu, would want to release Kanu. The government of the day will want to release Kanu to continue his agitation, except there is a compromise. I don't believe that the Nigerian government will want to sit down and see Biafra go. I don't think so. This current government, I don't think so. Even a P2B, you think, if P2B were to be president, a P2B would not necessarily release Nnamdi Kanu to continue agitating and take Biafra out of Nigeria. I have told you the consequence of taking Biafra out of Nigeria. They called it, Shebi Buhari say dot in a circle. Some people are calling it 5 plots of land. You see that 5 plots of land? If Nigeria allow the 5 plot of land go, if Nigeria as a country allow the 5 plot of land, in quotes, go, Nigeria will divide. So they know that even with the 5 plot of land that they are saying, if they allow them go, Nigeria will not remain one. That oil will be demystified. And who will be the biggest losers? The Fulanis would be the biggest losers. That is when the Hausas will now rise up and realize that they need to send the Fulanis away from their land. And it will be a long-term war between the Hausa and Fulani. Religion no go stop this one. So they are looking at the bigger picture. If we release, allow these people go, Ijaw people go run their own country. Different nationalities will just rise from nowhere. The Yoruba nation will activate. I told you, Igbos don't want to be in Nigeria again. Yorubas want to use and dump Nigeria. That's why you know that Yorubas want to use Nigeria and dump Nigeria. Take opportunity of our brother as the president. We develop and solidify our religion. We put our people in positions of power. They have experience, they have connections. They are building bridges. Opportunities, create opportunities for the Yoruba people. That's why you see Yorubanization. So the Yoruba man wants to use Nigeria and dump Nigeria. So that's a fact. So it will be very nice if Tinubu's government will release Nnamdi Kanu. And I believe if Nnamdi Kanu is released, sanity will be brought to the southeast. And I believe in an Igbo nation. Why? Because we have stupid leaders. We need to cleanse our system. If we jump into having Biafra at this moment, with this kind of political leaders in place, we'll be having a lot of crisis at our hands. We need to build a formidable Igbo nation that can stand on its own and fight for freedom. Because, okay, for instance, Nnamdi Kanu comes out and declares Biafra. You know that the political leaders are very, very important if you are declaring a nation. So that entities, legal entities like the UN, like the different other countries, we want to consider your political leaders also before giving you a nation of your own. Look at Simon Ekpa autopilot. Look at the drama that they are Orabweze, the other guy. Orabweze, 2 groups split just a week after Simon Ekpa was incarcerated or is in detention, wherever he is. But he cannot. We don't see Simon Ekpa as we used to see him. 2 groups split. So when the world looks at such agitation, how would they want to take you serious or give you your own country? Looking at the Simon Ekpa example. So I believe formidable and solid Igbo nation, Igbo leadership, and renew our interests. Let us know what our regional interests are. Because as we speak, Nnamdi Kanu is much more powerful than all the Southeast governors combined though. His influence even extend to Hausa land, to the Middle Belt. His influence extend also some parts of the Southwest. So if they release that guy, they are releasing a big influence. It will render the Southeast governors that are not carrying the mandate of the people, will render them useless. That's why most of these governors, in their heart of heart, they never want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. They never want it. They never ever want Nnamdi Kanu to be released. I believe his release will bring a lot of relief to the Igbo people. You see, psychologically, if Nnamdi Kanu is released, and whatever he says, people will follow. They will follow him. If he's saying, okay, let's move on to Igbo nation, and gives reasons, because that guy is, if he's talking now, he's someone that can convince you. How he was able to start up his Radio Biafra and he brought people together, brought my attention and attention of many other young people to believe in his Biafra cause. My brother, it takes a divine gift. So if he comes out and said, Igbo nation, let's build a nation, let's do this, let's do that, those in diaspora, invest, let's push for interests, federal government, blah, 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 and we see a vibrant economy of Igbos, then we can push, we can join hands together and push for self-determination. If that is what he's going to say, that's a different thing. But I don't think that this Tinubu's government want to sit down and see Biafra go. Because beyond that, Tinubu wants to spend 8 years. Beyond that, he doesn't care. The reason why you see he wants to use Nnamdi Kanu as a point is because of the Fulani. The Fulani go rogue. He used Nnamdi Kanu and scatter them. That's why most of them are afraid. Because the Fulani will be the biggest losers in Nigeria if Nigeria divides. Because they are not indigenous to the country. They don't have heritage in this current geographical expression according to Awolowo. In fact, they have become a pain in the ass. In fact, people don't even like seeing them. So if you stop like this, if you stop, you know that Hausa, they are having a meeting underground to make sure that they send this Fulanis packing. The reasons why the Fulanis are surviving in Nigeria is one Nigeria. It's only one Nigeria that make them survive. Let's move on to northern Nigeria. I have a lot of things to say about northern Nigeria because time, I think it's almost 20 minutes. 20 minutes. The South arrests its own and put its own in detention. Why the North arrest their terrorists and their terrorists are released? Their terrorists are released. The other time, Saudi Arabia gave us names of people who were sponsoring Boko Haram. The government turned the other way. These are other names. Full list of individuals associated with Bureau de Change suspected of being allegedly involved in financing of terrorism. The group of individuals facing sanctions consists of 9. This is a reported news. Tuku Mamu, Yusuf Ghazali, Muhammad Sani, Abubakar Mohammed, Salam Sudin Hassan, Adam Ishak, Hassana Uiza Isa, Abdul Karim Musa, Omar Abdullahi. Remember the Zamfara state governor that complained that a certain bandit was apprehended by the security officials, and the bandits boasted that Abuja go release him. Boasted to the governor that Abuja go release him. At the end of the day, Abuja released him. Abuja released the guy. The guy now went back. The guy went back to abduct a senior officer in the army. There's a video of that Zamfara governor that went viral. The North are reserving these guys for any time he goes up. I'm telling you. You see these guys as their foot soldiers. Nobody's interested in Nigeria. The North are just saying, okay, in case Nigeria, because we know that unity, the leg is shaking. In case Nigeria is no more tomorrow, we have our foot soldiers. So they depend on these, in quotes, people they call bandits or terrorists, to help them fight their ethnic war or fight their regional war. That is what is happening. Because nobody is interested in one Nigeria. Okay, let's move on. Another names convicted of Nigerians convicted for wiring 782,000 to Boko Haram. Abubakar Mohammed, Saleh Yusuf Adamu, Ibrahim Ali Al-Hassan, Abdurrahman Ado Musa, Bashir Ali Yusuf, Mohammed Ibrahim Isa. These are northerners. How many of them will you see be prosecuted? They will not prosecute them. Some of them might be fictional names with some of the culprits among them. So the North, they are reserving their terrorists, in quote, they are freedom fighters. Somebody says so. You know, normally a politician will say something. They are number one liars. They are number one manipulators. These guys are number one liars manipulators. That's what we know them for. So whenever a politician is saying that is a lie, my brother, look at it very well. You have got them. You have got them. So the North keep their terrorists, and at the end of the day, they release them. Sometimes they enlist them into the army, and they become part of their system in case something's up in Nigeria. Now let's move on. I don't want to talk about this. This one in particular, it diverts me. It diverts me. Let me not talk about it. Let me not talk about it. But however, we know that Nigeria as a country, we need to restructure this country. We need much more than ever before. If you are going to a farm, there's not just one road. Nigeria will be restructured. Even though Tinubu does not want to do so. You see, their indices, it is showing. Look at what happened in Romi. Nigerians will be restructured. Nnamdi Kanu is released, is going to help Igbo nation. It's going to help solidify the leadership in Igbo land. So far, he keeps to the principles we know him for. He's going to make sure that in the whatever leadership that has been constituting nuisance in Igbo land is going to be wiped off. And at the end of the day, Biafra is coming. Yes. Whether somebody likes it or he doesn't want to like it. See, the only thing that can bring justice to Nigerians, to the masses, is Biafra. Oduduwa. Okay, we don't want Biafra Oduduwa. Resource control, regional system of government. That is the only thing. Because without that, we are just wasting our time. We are just deceiving ourselves and not have you. The North know what they are doing. They are saving for the rainy day. They know that Nigeria is standing on one leg. That's why most of their terrorists, during that time, the federal government gave bandits, Mietela, 100 billion naira to stop the kidnapping. Minister of Interior under Buhari, you gave bandits 100 million. Because I call them, whether Mietela or bandits, whatever they are, 100 million, 100 billion. You were initially asking for 160 billion, but you gave them 100 billion to stop the kidnappings and attacks. These are now official. Who knows what they have been giving at the back? God help us.